Okay. I think we're good. Stream is running, I believe. So, it's been a few days, and I think I'm about where I intended to be when I wanted to start my last stream. Maybe a little bit further than that. So, since we're here at the Dragon Farm, let's talk about the changes that I have made to this. Yeah, okay. So, actually, I guess I should show that this is kind of my little AFK box. I can have either a switch or a pressure plate here, and I've kind of been changing them out as I do things. Having a switch here lets me kind of turn it on until I wander around while the thing runs. I have 3 displays over here, as you saw. I can just get back up here. Okay. This display is information about the dragon. -1 means that no dragon detected. 1, I believe, means that there's a dragon there that's just freshly spawned in. And 9 means the dragon needs to be killed. Or it has been killed and needs to be released from stasis so it can disappear and the next cycle can start. This is the failsafe. Right now there's a bit of soul sand in the failsafe. If it despawns, then that means that it has failed. But if it moves on to the next, or I guess I should say, if it despawns, that means that it has failed to summon the dragon and needs to activate the failsafe, which is actually below me here. 2 timer turrets pointed at a prism. 1 has harm to destroy the end crystal. Another has break to break any blocks that might be obscuring or protecting the crystal. Like you can kind of see that there's crystals here inside these blocks. And so it digs its way through the blocks and breaks the end crystal. Tested it, it works. Though I don't think it's actually been necessary, and really shouldn't be while I'm here, because this seems to only break when I try to go somewhere else. Where are you going? Way over there. Okay. It's being fed by an ender source jar. Since it runs infrequently, I'm probably just going to leave it there. There's no reason to upgrade that at all. As he... Okay. As you can probably see, it's no longer removing the entire temple. It just removes kind of the bit that it needs to. Throat issues. Okay, so... Oh, it looks like connection issues too. That's awesome. 1.8 of my frames have apparently been dropping. That's great. Anyway, I kind of realized that I don't really need to remove the entirety of the temple. I just need to remove enough to grab like the eggs, like that egg, and that egg, and also to get the drops close enough to the hoppers to get scooped up. And then here, the show area. just barely able to get everything that falls in that space. And down here, I've actually used this entanglement block on the builder so that I can provide power to every single face of the builder, allowing it maximum possible speed of block removal, which you can probably see it's just removing quite quickly. So quickly, in fact, that this spawns in after it has finished removing them. Now, the reason why that actually happens is because I have removed the redstone timer that I had in the mix. It was just far too inconsistent, so I just opted to remove it. Actually, you know what? We should delve into the code here. Okay, where am I? Oh yeah, messing around with files. Okay. So, I believe it is 7. Nope. There we go. Yep, that's it. So, we have first phase, check to make sure the switch is active, because that indicates the player is present. Then we have our end crystal placement thing. Okay, yeah, so this is counting the crystals. If there's more than 4, then it checks to see if the failsafe is in place. Well, if there's more or equal to 4, then it checks to see if the failsafe is in place. If it does, then it moves on to the wait stage. If the dragon's already present, then we just skip the wait stage. Okay, so come down to the fail drop, or place fail. It now actually looks at the end crystals itself and will only place the failsafe if all 4 end crystals are placed. So if for some reason the end crystals haven't been placed, it won't throw down a failsafe, allowing for the maximum possible time for the failsafe check. Yes. So crystals have been placed here, and then it just kind of waits for the dragon to show up. If the failsafe despawns, well, it technically doesn't despawn because it has a ridiculously long life, but it waits for the pickup timer, which I've set to about 5 minutes, and picks it up, so it doesn't actually waste the item. But if that disappears for whatever reason, then it assumes it has failed and enters the failsafe state, which fires those turrets and waits for there to be no more end crystals. Yes, and I have these player simulators on the sides here, which actually look for there to be fire where the end crystal is supposed to be, but no end crystal. If that happens, it hits the fire to put it out. There we go. Okay, so assuming that the dragon does spawn in, then we just hit it until it dies, which is detected by the dragon phase being equal to 9. I'm not sure what exactly the dragon phases mean. I suspect that's controlling its behavior, whether it's just flying around or whatnot. But whatever. When it's equal to 9, that means it's dead and needs to be freed. At which point, we free the dragon, and we wait for there to not be a dragon, which is tracked by a variable that I called here bDragons. So if there's no dragon, then we just move on to the clearing phase. Before, this is where the redstone timer was at, but now we just skip that and just activate the builder. That's pretty much it, really. I don't think there's anything else to really go over. Okay. So, right, I rebuilt the drone thing. It's somewhere, I'm not sure where it is. Where is it? It's way over here. Oh. Yeah, it's way over here. Gathering flowers. I have updated its little program thing. It's now significantly more complex. So it starts out here and then checks the area where the flowers could be. If there's flowers, then it enters this gathering state where it gathers the flowers. If it's gathered 1,280, there's one in front of that. It just only allows you to see 3 digits for some reason. If it gathers 1,280 or there aren't any more to pick up, then it checks its inventory. If it has anything in its inventory, then it goes to this unloading stage here, which has it teleport to this block, which is right above this one, right above the chest, and then unloads into that chest. Which is what this does, export the inventory to that chest. And then it restarts and reloads. If it didn't find anything, well, any flowers, then it teleports to this location, which is the charging station here. And then goes into standby mode, which turns off the little motor thing so it's not consuming any of its air pressure. And then it waits for 60 minutes. Lets the flowers build up again. This actually does a pretty decent job clearing out the area, as you can see. There's not a whole lot of flowers. So I've gotten this so fast, they just kind of keep spawning in. But it does a pretty good job keeping up with it. Alright. What next to talk about? Sure, I guess we'll just kind of go somewhat in order. Power. Okay, good. So, home. Down here. So, nuclear reactor remains largely unchanged. Now it goes down to, is this thing on? This should be on. It is indeed on. Have you been having any issues? No, you have not. Good. So power output comes down here to this induction matrix. This is the largest possible induction matrix, although it is pretty much hollow. And this has been running for a few days now, just filling this up. I don't think the reactor is turned off once. And this is how much it's managed to fill up. So pretty great. I have slightly modified the computer craft program that controls the reactor to stop it if this gets to like 95% full, which probably not going to be happening for a while. It's a lot longer than what I thought it would take. It has one so it has one ultimate one ultimate induction provider, and 16 ultimate induction cells in it. So plenty of room to grow, and I'm going to need to come up with better power production. Built this kind of a while ago, trying to come up with a way to get plutonium. I believe I actually talked about it last episode, but it turned out to be kind of unnecessary for that. At least it looks like it might be useful for something else in the future, so I'm just kind of leaving it here, but currently it has no use. So I have the reactor input here. I have a return point here. So if I want to drain something of power, I can just slap on a thing to it and it'll return the power here. I have normal home power grid output here, and I have the power output to my machines here. This is going to the quarry. It works pretty well. And I got tired of charging my stuff up, so I created a player transmitter. And for reasons I'll get to shortly, I needed a second one. Because one just wasn't quite enough. Okay. Okay, so, I rebuilt the flux dust thing here. But I kind of realized that flux. Okay, so the recipe for this. This is kind of what I was originally looking at, and I completely missed that there was a second one that lets you just use fluxstone block, I believe that is. Yeah, flux block instead of obsidian, which allows me to build the thing up here rather than have it down there. And I've kind of changed how this works a bit. The recipe for it now only has redstone in it. So it's only going to fill this up with redstone, and instead I am just maintaining the obsidian separately in an ME interface. So it can just pull that when it needs it. And it can, and I have tested it with a full chest here. Just drops the full chest in there. One obsidian block turns it all into the flux. Which is pretty great. Nice and efficient. Great stuff. I think I tested. Did I test with a full chest? I don't remember. Anyway, point is, it works. And now it just outputs it directly to the pattern thing instead of just sticking it back at the chest. I don't know why I thought that was a good idea originally. But it's fixed now, so it's not doing that. Can handle as much as I need. I moved the centrifuge up here from down below because I needed the channel for this right here. So this is to fill bottles of enchanting. So it puts experience into here, bottles into here, and fills them up. It, interestingly enough, one bucket of experience can do 100 bottles, which is kind of insane. And I have no way to control the amount of liquid it is, so that's just what I had to do. I had to just deal with a bucket's worth. Works, though. Yep. So, also moving it there gave me the opportunity to upgrade it. As you can kind of see when I have my cursor pointed over it, that's an ultimate machine core centrifuge. and I have absolutely no idea what that affects, really. But I have a whole bunch of these modules on it to speed things up, so it is just consuming power and moving real fast. Consumes so much power that I actually had to entangle it to give it just a little bit more juice. And also pull items out of it because there's not a whole lot of room in here anymore. Yes. So, I set up a power system here. Kind of see the little energized orb down here. And a whole bunch of these nitro rods, energizing rods. That one row does things pretty quick, so might not build more of them. Or might, who knows? Well, I'll see, I guess. Might come across something that just takes forever, so want more juice to it. Who knows? And I thought it would be a good idea to stick the Draconic Evolution Fusion Core just right on top of it. And it's kind of interesting. I've given it, I've upgraded to Draconic Fusion Crafting Injectors. Got 8 of them, 4 on each side. It works, but unfortunately I have to keep giving it a redstone signal to have it detect recipes. Should probably set up a system that actually checks to see if there's something in there and then gives it the redstone pulses, but whatever. I've noticed that the Applied Energistics system has trouble with some of the Draconic Evolution stuff. Oh, we're connected again. Okay. So last time I played with Draconic Evolution, it had a set of armor that in order to get the benefits of Draconic Evolution, you had the Don Foley, so you had to have a full set. But it looks like they've removed it, and now you just have this chest piece here. And the chest piece actually goes into the Kuro body slot, which is here. It's pretty great. I can just stick it on. Everything's great. Keep it off for the moment because it has an issue that we might as well just talk about. So, the issue with the chest plate. It consumes a lot of power. It also doesn't show up in my little hotbar there for some reason. Alright, so if I open this up, I have completely filled up all the slots. I have, that was Forge energy, but that might not be Forge energy. I have no idea what op is. Mostly hovering around 50. If I put this on, now it's hovering around 100. It's doubled the power consumption of this, and it's not even doing anything. It's literally just existing. Take it off, back down to 50. But wait, there's more. If I turn the shield on and put it on, you can see that it's oh crap, it's actually still not enough. Okay. Power draw actually seems to be, well, mostly about the same, which is surprising. I didn't think it would be. This is why I have 2 power transmitters. Was just to support this thing, which is just eating power like crazy. Okay, I'm gonna take that back off. Like, I mean, it's pretty great. I haven't quite fully tested it in this playthrough yet, but last playthrough it was pretty good. But how it worked last time is you just have energy holding items in your inventory and just consume from them directly, and you could just have a whole bunch of them, and it was great. But that doesn't seem to be the case anymore. Now you have to pump the power into it somehow. This battery here does actually do a pretty good job supplying it. I'm just kind of hoping that these two things would give it a positive thing, but as it is, it looks like I can only support it for X amount of time before I start having issues. And that's going to be important for something I intend to do later this stream, hopefully. I already put it away. I think I did. Where did that go? Okay, there it is. Okay. Yep. So, over here I built this create crafter. This makes motors and alternators, so I can use create stuff elsewhere. Not really much to say about that. I have automated blood infusers. I noticed that when you put a bowl of empty promises, or a dusted bowl, whatever, let's just evil craft this. A dusted bowl of promises into the different tier ones, you actually get a different output based on what tier it was. So I wasn't quite sure how important the promise of tenacity was actually. So I made one for each tier, although now that I've done that, it doesn't actually seem to be all that important. The top tier one is probably just the best one to just go with. But whatever. I have no reason to change it at this time, so I'm not going to bother. To supply the blood that I need, I have come over here and I rebuilt the spawner upgrader thing, but now it just applies the redstone signal requirement and the ignore players thing, so that they run all the time as long as they have a redstone signal. I've made it kind of more tiered to funnel them a bit better into the center, so I don't get issues with them crowding on the side if I decide to once again really upgrade the spawners. That'll probably be a thing for later. I built some evil craft sanguinity. Fuck off. Sanguinary pedestals. 4 of them with some spike things on top so that they drain the blood of anything that lands on top of them and stores them into a tank for the system. And actually, let's see how much blood I've got now. Looks like 155,000 buckets, which is not bad. I did not upgrade this again, so it's basically still the way it was. Oh! It looks like this bugged out again. Not sure why this happens. Projectile. Stone. Actually, this happens enough. I should probably just create a dedicated system for dealing with this. Button. Actually, I got a lot of these polished blackstone buttons for some reason. There we go. That kind of solves that little issue. No, it doesn't. Huh. Did it break? Okay, that seems fine. Minecraft has actually been weirdly stable the past few days. Like, I've been running the server for a couple days straight without any real issues. Yeah, it looks like that's back to normal. No issues with the quarry, which is kind of weird now that I'm not having issues since I've restored backup. I don't know. I don't know what the difference is. I know I was having issues before that backup, so I would have thought that those issues would have transferred over, but no, it's been weirdly stable. I've not updated it, so I don't know what's going on. At least I don't think I updated it. No, the last update was transferring over to a dedicated server, which did not help at all. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so you know what? Let's talk about food next. I have discovered this amazing food item here, which has 22 meats and 53 saturation. I think this is the best possible food in the game currently. And to facilitate that, I have this over here because we need the peppercorns. There was like a there's another version that I actually did fully automate that uses cinnamon that I was originally looking at, but I realized the other recipe, the hamburger here, only needs me to grow peppercorns. And so that's kind of mostly just what I'm using, but I still have the cinnamon going there. Actually, finding the cinnamon was kind of a pain in the ass. It was kind of, it was a funny story, really. So I went out, I looked up online how to find it, where I can find it, what biomes, and I went and visited those biomes, and spent a couple of hours just flying. You can probably see it on the map. Could if it loaded in. Spent like a couple hours. This whole thing was my search. Just went through looking at all the trees, going around, finally gave up, came back, and was like, okay, what's the next thing on the ingredient list? And it was, I think, peppercorns. And I read online that you could just gather them by just breaking them when they were not fully grown like this, and it would drop the block itself. So I went out to test it. Kind of just went over here. Saw that there was a plant similar to that, like somewhere over here. Went out to test it, and well, I guess I can show you right here with this. So these walnuts, if they're fully mature and you break them, it will not drop the block. But if you harvest them first, then it will drop the block and you can grow them elsewhere, which is pretty great. Anyway, I saw one kind of out my window and went out to test it, and I don't remember what it was. I should have marked it, but like right next to it was a cinnamon tree. It was like it was exactly what I was looking for. That cinnamon tree, I believe, is actually still out here, or at least maybe I mined up that one. And but there's others around here. I've seen others. I just can't seem to find them now. Well, anyway, I probably shouldn't spend too much time on it. It was just really funny that hours searching, found nothing, come home, and I find it just like grown right outside of my base. Yep. Anyway, so now I'm going to be relying on this as my primary food source after I finish up the steak. So that's great. Oop. Okay, so we covered that. The hearts, yes. Okay, so heart thing, I finally figured out the purple hearts. Apparently you need to upgrade the heart amulet to a soul amulet, and that lets you put them in there, and they give you additional hearts. Just like the other containers, which is pretty great. Yes. Not really much more to say about that. I haven't tested their ability to keep me alive yet, though that might get tested a little bit later. Okay, the collider. Let's talk about the collider. So I have the collider up here. It's technically two colliders, really. So we have the first collider here. We have the recipe here. It puts the items into the storage controller, which goes to this oak drawer with a pusher upgrade. I need to be careful. I've already accidentally stuck my sword in one of them once. Once you collide your sword, you don't get it back. Anyway, and it also connects to this one, which pushes it into here. More on that later. So, over here, the first one plops into the system, goes round round. It actually does not take very long until it gets to a signal strength of 7, at which point it flips this, comes down this way, and right into this next one, where it then goes around and around and around until it gets to here with a signal strength of 11, at which point it flips this and moves on to this outer ring here. The outer ring has absolutely no speed things because the particle in it is already going the speed I want it to, and it just holds it. So this second collider here, the second particle thing will come in here, go out here, and it will go around this tiny ring. There's no speed, or there's no linear motors to accelerate it. It just goes at whatever speed it initially had. And this is kind of rather important because it's just meant to sit here and wait for the other one to get up to speed. Whereupon we have these two guides. So anything moving clockwise like this will come in through this red tube here, and surprisingly enough, that red tube has to be there or else it doesn't work. You can get it by grabbing a lever, or I guess a button since I already have one. You just need to provide it with a redstone signal so it switches for a second, and that causes the red tube to appear. So the particle in this ring will enter the red tube, allowing it to just go straight through to here, and will be redirected to here. The particle coming through here will enter the red tube and be allowed to just go straight, and then out through here, back into the thing. And surprisingly enough, this one block here between them is very important because that is where the collision can actually happen. If you just have these two right up against one another, they will never collide. So, important to have that. Yes. And because they're going opposite directions, they will collide in this one spot. And if they don't the first time, no big deal. They'll just keep going around with no additional energy added. And until they meet each other and finally give me what I want. Now, this plutonium dust is pretty much the only output from these gliders that I really want. And I only need the dust for upgrades, so this will probably never get used again after today. But I do still need some, so let's make a plutonium pellet. Oh, it's already put in the particle. So you can see we have the one particle speeding up there, and we have the other particle slowly moving about. It doesn't really matter which ingredient is which. And there it is. It's now up to speed, and it will wait for the other one to get to there and collide with it. And there's the collision. And we have the second one. Anyway, it's pretty cool mechanic. I just kind of wish it was a bit more useful, but that's fine. Tab is over here. I've modified the tree farm here. I now have a thing running underneath of it for planting the saplings. I have a sophisticated barrel for storage with a reduce or a stack downgrade tier 2, so that each stack can only have like 4 items in it. And I just fill that up with saplings. The top still harvests things and puts it into the system. So I can easily switch out what tree I'm having it grow based on my needs. I don't have to stop it or anything like that. I can just throw in the new sapling into this interface, remove the old one, and it will grow whatever tree I want. Works pretty well. What else is there to talk about? Bees. Done a fair amount of bee breeding. They're not here. They're the next one up. So I've got pink slimy bees currently in here. They are producing pink slime for me, so I don't have to set up like an animal farm, although I might just set one up anyway, because they're fun. But for now, just pink slime bees. If I want to, I can upgrade them to, which is kind of the main reason why I got them. Are you not going to let me just do that? Okay, fine. Search them. Pink. Slim. So you can upgrade them by giving them some ether gas into ether gas bees, which produce wither juice. Which is pretty great. Makes them a viable alternative to juicing withers. Though admittedly a less fun alternative. Let's see. I discovered that you can double stack the feeding slabs to create a double feeding slab. Which is pretty great. It's a full block feeding slab. And I believe I have... Okay, so I have draconic bees. Right, because that's another bee that I need. Actually, no, we'll cover that later. What I need them for. Enderium, withered bees. I don't remember why I needed these. But I did need them, so I created them. Nothing in that one. I keep finding rogue bees in that. And over here I have Eastnium bees. to make Isnium ore for occultism mod. Yeah, cultism. To get the Isnium for that, I needed to create a Isnium pickaxe, which is, well, it's an infused pickaxe really, but I put fortune, I put fortune, unbreaking, and unusing on it. So it got me what I needed pretty quickly. And otherworld goggles so I could actually see the ore, because apparently the third eye potion does not show you the ore, which is interesting and annoying. Yes. And I intend to do a bit of cultism